Hi everyone. I just wanted to talk about today. I brought my friend in, Ellis, to talk about. He's an Everton fan. He's a long-time Everton fan, obviously England fan. I want to talk about is Gareth Southgate ruining this golden generation? And I want to more specifically talk about the progression or lack of progression that's been made over the last 2 years since the World Cup. And just talk about whether he's picking the right squads, whether he's having the right sort of play. I think I wanted to bring my friend in to talk about this because he has very good knowledge of the situation. So go on. What do you think has been? Why do you think there's been a lot of questions about Southgate, especially over the last few months?
Yeah, well, definitely great to talk about this, Stan, as I think there's a few hot topics I'd like to mention. Definitely when you look at the England team from when we come out of the World Cup, there was quite a lot of excitement and engagement around how Southgate's going to make this team much better. And I just haven't really seen it. I've not seen the development coming from players who've been on form. When you look at a lot of the players who have been playing well in the Premier League, even the Championship as well, they've not really progressed into it. And yeah, I wonder if Southgate is the right man for the job, especially 6 months after. You start to notice, okay, is he making the right selections? And I think definitely in probably the last 5 to 10 games, you'd look at the players he's picking and think, is it the right choice?
Yeah, and I mean, the five back, it was sort of implemented because we had no other choice in the World Cup, and I get that with the lack of quality centre backs we have, playing Walker at centre back, who, I mean, like Roy Keane says, I mean, I don't want to call him an idiot, but the problem is, and we've had this a lot with players like him who get into the team, is once you play at the international level, especially against the top teams, you are playing against world-class wingers every round. And we get exposed. I mean, you saw in the Croatia game, which we lost. Yeah. I mean, Perisic tore us to absolute pieces.
Yeah, I was just going to mention Perisic, and it was not very fun to watch, as you can imagine. So.
No, and this is the issue we have. So playing him centre back, I mean, a lot of he doesn't help whoever's right back out defensively. He's just more of a liability. And if you are going to play Alexander-Arnold, which I think he's going to do, and this sort of goes into the favouritism of the big sides when he's going to play no matter what system Alexander-Arnold, no matter what system we play, Alexander-Arnold's going to be in there because he is the wonder kid. He's going to play no matter what. That's
certainly. I think Alexander-Arnold definitely deserves a place in the team. Premier League winner, obviously Champions League winner as well. At 21, I think he is now, and he definitely deserves his spot. But I do look at other players in the Premier League, for example, Cody. He had obviously his debut a few weeks ago and played excellent. Was probably one of our best centre backs I've seen play in a while. And you wonder why isn't he playing? I think Maguire's been poor in definitely recent performances, so it does question, Gareth Southgate's picking ability, really. So
yeah, and I think that's a perfect point. Picking players off form. I mean, Cody's finally now coming into the side, but in reality, if Maguire's fit, Gomez is fit, who again is showing this. I mean, it shows how good Van Dijk is when you look at Alexander-Arnold, what he does, which he quite clearly is fairly inept defensively, but he does make up for it going forward. And Joe Gomez is also looking fairly shaky without Van Dijk. And obviously he's injured now for who knows how long. But even like you say, Cody can have an excellent season, but in reality, Southgate will most likely select Walker, Maguire, and probably Gomez at centre back. Like, it won't matter how well Cody plays, and this is the problem that a lot of England managers have, and I already see Southgate falling into, is picking favouritising the bigger clubs without even, no matter what, like players like Calvert-Lewin, which, I mean, he should absolutely be in and around this England team. Will he though? Like,
I agree. I think definitely. I think when you look at players like Rashford, who probably does deserve to be in the team, Kane, they're always going to be the first choice for Southgate. And whether you also look at other players like Calvert-Lewin, like Ings, Watkins, these players coming into the Premier League, scoring a lot of goals and looking quite a threat. And yeah, realistically, they're probably not going to get anywhere near the starting 11, let alone the bench. So it is really interesting to see how we sort of look at the development with the younger players. When you look at the centre backs as well, I think other players who really need to step up, and I'd like to see play a bit more in the Premier League. I think Southgate's waiting for them to as well, is players like Tomori. He looks a great prospect, and I think that's what Southgate is waiting on. So do you look at it in the respect of Southgate's waiting for more game experience for them players to actually bring them up to that senior level in the international side? Or is he, like you said, picking his safe bets, which is what a lot of previous English managers have done with picking. But yeah, I agree.
I mean, it's what Hodgson did. I mean, when he was in charge, I mean, Sterling, no matter how bad he played, was in the side. It seems to be the problem. And with English managers, they get their side, what they see as the most talented side, and irregardless of form, they're playing, which is just not. It's just not how you should go about it. It just doesn't work like that. And I mean, you also got to go into the fact that so we're playing this 5-back. Let's just accept that. But then the middle of the park looks like he's going to set up with Henderson and Rice, or Henderson and Phillips. Who, don't get me wrong, like Phillips and Rice and Henderson, they all do a job. They all do a good job of what they're asked to do. But at the international level, there's a reason why no other top European nation sets up like that. Because it's and I understand we haven't got great defenders, so put more defenders in the team. But the problem is, it's so easy for us to be pinned in and pressed with the lack of quality footballers in our side.
It is, and especially when you watch these players play, such as Phillips and Henderson, that they play football backwards or sideways. They're never forward playing players, and we definitely need to look at players who are more creative and definitely show a bit more potential in that position. It is something definitely Southgate's going to have to work on, because I do agree, if we're in that team with them two players, to me, it screams stagnant. It screams nothing. We lose creativity as well. It'll be, I don't know who would fill that role, because it still is a position.
Well, I mean, as an Everton fan, Barkley, the way he's been playing, I was shocked that Chelsea even let him go on loan, because he was one of their better players, even at the start of the season as well as last season.
Barkley's best attribute, and I think you probably agree with me, is moving the ball forward. And he does that so well.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the reasons why Aston Villa have been so good this season, because his ability to break the lines and play between the lines is actually something he's developed really, really well in the last couple of years, which he didn't really see that at Everton. You sort of more saw him as like a number 10, just behind the striker.
Definitely, no, 100%. And I think with him as well, I think he's really trying to prove a point now. And Southgate's, if he doesn't have him on his radar, we need to make sure he does, because he's, definitely one to be put in the squad as a, great player. And obviously, you look at other players such as Oxlade-Chamberlain, who's obviously injured at the moment, and who is another more creative player that you would look at, who can sort of play in that midfield role as well. But I definitely think we need more creativity. Obviously, Grealish a couple of years ago was looking like that central player, but as recent performances go, he's more on the left.
And I think the way he's played, I don't see another player who starts ahead of him.
Yeah,
I even as good as Rashford can be, problem is Rashford, he only fancies it every 5 games.
He does, he does.
Honestly, he only like that. The performance against Leipzig was like, if he played like that,
he'd be on the elite level. Yeah, he'd be the
best players in the world.
He would be. I agree. He'd be a Ballon d'Or competitor.
Yeah, he would be but whatever the reason is, he doesn't do it. And you can't. I understand. Obviously, you play who's like you do want that like elite level talent in your side, but Jack Grealish is unbelievably gifted. Yeah, doesn't really give the ball away.
He's our real English Starling at the moment, and I personally think he's our essential. He's one of the first names on 100%, and I think Southgate is starting to recognise that, because when he isn't playing him, he's getting a lot of criticism for it. So
I think, but this is also a case. Is he playing him because he wants him in his side, or is he playing him because of the backlash that because everyone realises how good he is, and that why are we not playing him? So. Is that the reason? Because he played in the friendly against Ireland and which will he play in the Nations League? You don't know. If he does, then it would make a statement to say, okay, so he probably will be part of Southgate's plans.
Yeah.
But again, if Rashford's fit, if Sterling's fit, Sancho, I mean, you don't get me wrong, you've got players ahead of, like, somewhat ahead of him who are top quality. Yeah. But I think, me personally, Sterling doesn't give the same sort of production that he does for Man City. Don't get me wrong, he's playing with much better creative players behind him with Man City. You've got De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, players like that, like world-class creative midfielders. But even so, if he's not going to give you that same productivity, he can't just be in there based off of like merit, and not merit. Sorry, like
a Sterling problem as well, which we've definitely seen, is pressure. As a player, he doesn't do well with pressure, and I don't think so. No, probably his biggest downfall. As much as he's obviously very, very fast, and they've got very good shooting ability, and he does struggle with pressure. And I think if it gets to the bigger games, it does make you wonder: does he start to crumble a bit? And he's definitely done that in the Premier League. So
it's those it's one of those where I always say, when we're talking about players who score the goals in those big moments, do you have your money on Sterling going clean through in the last minute to win us the game? I would say no.
Yeah,
and that's not to knock him as a player, because he's absolutely world class. And he's got so much better since being at Man City and under Pep. Yeah. But some players just don't have it, and he's an excellent person. I mean, what he does for the black community is incredible. But as far as actually, I think we've seen it. Why don't we try something else? Why don't we try Grealish? Why don't we try that? What we're putting out isn't anything special, in my opinion. I don't. There's no way you can watch this England side and performances and think, oh yeah, we're gonna, as soon as we get into a tournament, we're gonna beat one of the top nations. We're not going to. It's not going to happen. We haven't beaten a top nation since 2002 in a world tournament. That was against Argentina in the group stage. Every time we've played against a top nation in international knockout football, we have lost. Every time.
Yeah, I agree, definitely. And it makes you wonder that if we're, for example, if we do try to play Grealish, do we then look at players like Maddison? Because obviously he offers also a very similar playing style to what Grealish offers, and he's a threat. And I definitely think these players need to be involved in our wider club. So,
I mean, I think that's that's a really good point to end it on there, to be honest. Thanks, mate. That was really good chat. Thanks, everybody. Have a good one.
Yes, bye.
All right.
One